Welcome and good afternoon. This is Commish Orr, and today I'm going to give you a little update on my project, Best of the Decades tournament. It's the best of the 90s right now, featuring or using season ticket baseball. And so I'm just going to give you a little update on that. You can head over to baseballmaelstrom.com if you want to see the website and the stats and all of that. I have two projects going on. One is Payoff Pitch, and one is this season ticket baseball tournament. Best of the 90s. So let's just head right into that, shall we? First game, actually the first series here, or the series that we're doing right now, is between the 1993 Toronto Blue Jays and the 1995 Cleveland Indians. And in this is game two of these series, by the way. And in this game two, Toronto actually won this one 6-5. Pat Henshin actually went 8 innings, allowed 5 earned runs. Didn't pitch great, but pitched well enough and picked up the win in this one. Toronto came on late as Cleveland took they had a 4-1 lead, a 3-0 lead in the first couple of innings, a 4-1 lead after the fifth inning. But then Toronto started chipping away at that lead, scoring a couple runs here in the sixth to cut the lead to 4-3 against Oral Hershiser. And then an error, Paul Sorrento's error here in the seventh actually led to a couple of unearned runs that put Toronto on top 5-4. Now, in the bottom of the seventh, Cleveland would tie it up with a RBI double from Omar Vizquel. He was actually injured during the play. And but in the eighth inning, Toronto took the lead right back on a sac fly by John Olerud. Olerud hitting .459 in the tournament. I think he's number 2 in the American League, actually behind Cleveland's leadoff hitter, Kenny Lofton, who's hitting .464 so far in the tournament. In any event, Cleveland has been dealing with a lot of injuries. Jim Thome actually just came back from injury. He was out for a few games, quite a few games with injury, and Alvaro Espinoza, I believe, which was their backup third baseman, was also injured. So they had Herbert Perry playing third base there for several games because both of them were injured. And then now Omar Vizquel is out for a few games. So they've just been dealing with quite a few injuries. And so they dropped this one to Toronto, who now has a 2-0 series lead. We'll check out the bracket here in a minute. Heading over to the National League, the 1999 Arizona Diamondbacks were facing off against the 1998 Houston Astros. Randy Johnson on the mound for the Diamondbacks, and he just has not pitched well in the tournament. He's 2-2. After this game, he has an ERA over 6. As you can see, he allowed 7 earned runs in this one. And then he was facing off against Jose Lima for Houston, who picked up his first win of the tournament in this one. And then they had great relief pitching here in this one as well. Houston did. So, Houston scored in each of the first 4 innings against Johnson. The first inning helped by an error here. They had a single and error on an overthrow. And then in the second inning, they had back-to-back doubles to lead off the inning before Randy Johnson struck out the side. In the third inning, Ricky Gutierrez actually stole third base after doubling, and then Derek Bell hit a sac fly to bring him in. And then in the fourth inning, there was just a ground out that scored Moises Alou. And so Houston just kept chipping away. They had a 4-3 lead because they did score a couple of runs. Arizona scored a couple of runs. Jay Bell had a 2-run homer in the third. And Andy Fox had an RBI single in the fourth. So 4-3 at that point. And then Arizona had a big inning in the seventh. 4 unearned runs, which was crazy. Helped by an error by Ricky Gutierrez, actually. So kind of some sloppy play here in the seventh inning that led to all of these unearned runs. So Arizona took a 7-4 lead in the seventh. Felt pretty confident. Randy Johnson's still on the mound, though, and he allowed a base hit to Brad Ausmus He walked Craig Biggio to put runners on first and second. Gutierrez grounded out, put runners on the corners with 2 out. And then Johnson walked Derek Bell to load the bases, and Jeff Bagwell hit a grand slam to put Houston back on top 8-7. So just totally, Bagwell just totally wrecks Arizona in this one. Bagwell's been doing pretty well. It was his 4th home run of the series, of the tournament, I should say. And again, Johnson, 7 earned runs in 7 innings. He did strike out 8, but he just has not pitched very well here in the tournament. So Arizona drops this one to Houston 8-7 in heartbreaking fashion. Heading back to the American League, we have the Oakland Athletics, 1990 Oakland Athletics taking on the 1998 New York Yankees, who are the top-rated team in the tournament, by the way. Came in here as favorites. But they have struggled offensively, and this time it was Scott Sanderson who kind of shut them down. They did score a run in the 2nd inning, so, David Cone, coming off of a great first start for him, also pitched well. So there's a 1-1 tie here going into the 8th inning when Big Mac hit a 2-run homer to put Oakland on top 3-1 to break the tie. McGuire, it was his 5th home run of the tournament. He has just been bashing like you would expect. He's only hitting .259, but 5 homers. And Oakland got some insurance runs, a couple of runs off of Holmes here in the 9th inning. Now, part of that aided by a Chuck Knobloch error here to lead off the 9th inning. So a couple of unearned runs there in the 9th, but it didn't matter because Scott Sanderson, he pitched seven solid innings, only 3 hits for the Yankees in this one, and then turned it over to Gene Nelson, who finished out the game the last 2 innings, allowing just 1 more hit. So overall, Yankees only had 4 hits in this one. After the prior day where they only had 2 hits against Bob Welch. So the Yankees have only had 6 hits combined in the last 2 games. Those 2 hits in the first game of the series were both solo shots, but not enough. So, Yankees offense just struggling right now in this series. Finally, we head over to Atlanta, actually. The 1994 Montreal Expos taking on the 1998 Atlanta Braves. And again, Denny Nagel struggled in the beginning here, allowed a run in the first, and then back-to-back homers in the second from Sean Berry and Juan Bell. Not very two people that you wouldn't expect to hit back-to-back home runs, but it happened here and put the Expos up 4-0 at that point. Atlanta started chipping away at that lead when they scored with an RBI double by Danny Bautista in the second, and then once again, errors seem to be hurting teams in the series quite a bit, and this was no exception. Facero on the mound for the Expos, by the way, and here there's 3 unearned runs thanks to a throwing error by Will Cordero. That actually happened right after Lenny Webster threw. Walt Weiss was trying to steal second, and Webster threw the ball into the outfield, which also prolonged things here. So 2 errors in this inning lead to 3 unearned runs, and that was enough. Atlanta was on top 5-4 at that point. They'd score another insurance run in the 6th and another in the 8th, just to give them some breathing room. Nagel, on the other hand, after the 3rd inning here, after Will Cordero doubled here, actually, Moises Alou was thrown out at the plate by Michael Tucker. And that kind of changed the momentum of the game as Nagel would retire the next 14 hitters he faced before walking Rondell White here in the 8th inning. But the Expos wouldn't get a hit again after the 3rd inning. After this Will Cordero double, they would not get a hit the rest of the game. Only 1 base runner, this walk. And so they were just shut down. Kerry Lightenberg gets the save in this one. It's his 2nd save of the tournament. Nagel does enough to win this one after calming down after those 4 earned runs in the first 2 innings. He did strike out 7. So Atlanta takes this one 7-4. And if we look at the bracket, taking a look at the bracket here, we can see that we have in this round 4 potential sweeps going on here, as Oakland is up 2-0 on the Yankees. These are best of 5 series at this point. The Blue Jays are up 2-0 on the Indians. By the way, this the loser of this series goes home. So this is in the losers bracket down here. In the National League, Atlanta's up 2-0 on Montreal, and Houston's up 2-0 on Arizona. And again, in this series, the Houston and Arizona series, the loser of that goes home as well. So very interesting stuff to see. Let's take a look at the stats. I'll blow this up a little bit so you can actually see it. If you want to look at some league, we can see that the best hitting team in the American League is Toronto, hitting .318 in the tournament. But they have one of the worst ERAs. Best ERA, Oakland, 2.47 ERA, which is pretty crazy. And, of course, these last 2 games with the Yankees have helped that. In the National League, the best hitting team right now is the Astros, hitting .339, just crushing it. And Atlanta has the best ERA with .325 ERA there. Taking a look at some of the league leaders, or the tournament leaders, Moises Alou is hitting .500. Kenny Lofton right behind him, .464, of course, in the American League. Slugging-wise, Bagwell leads in slugging with a .923 slugging. Mark McGwire, as I mentioned, leads the American League in slugging at .815. Again, McGuire's leading in home runs with 5. Joe Carter right behind him, and Bagwell. Matt Williams leading in RBI with 15. He's been killing it too. In fact, he's hit .392. He kind of cooled off the last couple of games. 15 RBI though for him. Let's see what else. Stolen bases. Oh, there we go. Ricky Henderson is. Look at this. Ricky Henderson is number 1 and 2 in stolen bases. 7 with Toronto and 6 with Oakland. So that's pretty interesting. Taking a look at the pitching leaders. Now the White Sox are out of it, so that's a a small number of innings there. But Greg Maddux for Atlanta, .5 ERA, just crazy so far. Mentioned Scott Sanderson has 2 wins. Randy Johnson is number 1 and 2 in strikeouts, 36 with Arizona, 23 with Houston. So he's pitching well. And of course, Maddux just dominating the pitching categories here. Opponents are only hitting .088 against him, which is crazy. A 119 on base percentage for opponents. He's only allowing 3.5 base runners per 9 innings. So pretty crazy stuff there for Maddux. Very dominating. Of course, that's only in 2 starts basically, but interesting stuff to see. And so that's kind of the overview on the league so far. So my general process: I play 1 round of games. Let's get back to this. So I play 1 round of games every other week, I should say, because I alternate with my other project, my Payoff Pitch project, which is a Hall of Famer project. 3 American League, 3 National League teams of Hall of Famers facing off against 1 team in each league of non-Hall of Famers in a third of a full season, 54-game season. And so that's going on, and I alternate back and forth in alternating weeks with those projects. So here in a couple weeks, I'll be playing Game 3 of this Best of the 90s tournament. As always, you can head over to baseballmaelstrom.com if you want to follow the action. And let me know what you think. Let me know your picks for the tournament. Who do you think is going to come out victorious in this one to represent the 1990s? This is my second tournament that I've done, Best of the Decades tournament. The first one was the 1930s, and the Philadelphia Athletics won that one. So interesting to see who's going to win in the 1990s. With all that said, I appreciate you watching. Consider subscribing if you want to see more. And until next time, have a great evening.